Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. In the last part we did my two favorite dungeons in the game, and now we're going to do some side stuff before continuing on with the plot. First off, by coming down to this screen, which you can only access from the top really. There's a frog here. Let's rescue him now that we have the Titansmith. Ribbit Ribbit, your body did not change. You're not just an ordinary guy, are you? I used to live in Kakariko Town. One of my partners doing that without me. Ribbit, I have a request for you. Please take me to my partner. Please, Ribbit, please. If you went into a house that we've actually seen on screen before, I think it was like 2 parts ago, you would know which house to take him to if you entered it. It's the house on this screen. See, a swordsmith is missing his partner there, and if it's not obvious enough, we now have the partner. By the way, I'd recommend a better placement of this portal than here, because we still have some stuff to do below there in the light world, or dark world rather. Oh, happy days are here again. You found my partner. We are very happy now. Drop by here again. At that time, your sword will be tempered perfectly. So let's exit and re-enter then. How you two doing? Hey, you, welcome. Ask us to do anything. Temper my sword for 10 rupees. So they're gonna have a sword for a while, so we're swordless. However, all you have to do here is walk left a screen outside the house and you're good. I think you can technically head up as well, but I never know. This is the way I always go. In fact, heading out probably would have saved me a bit of time, huh? Well then. Let's go get our sword. I don't know why I lifted that. And by coming back here, our sword is now tempered up. Pretty much, it doubles the power. It's now a level 3 sword. I'm not sure what the exact damage values are. I know the Master Sword, I think, is double the damage of the normal sword, so this is either triple or quadruple the power? I'm not quite sure. I think it does 3 damage compared to the Master Sword's 2, but do not quote me on that. Either way, now in the Dark World version of this room, there's some stuff we can do. First off, we want to knock down every single one of these pegs, because it gets us something nice in the end. By the way, undead chickens. Yeah, doing that makes this cave open up. And in it is piece of heart number 20? Yep, 20. Either way, now it's time for our next destination, which is up here. Because the key is locked inside this chest, you can never open it. Just take it with you. This chest is essentially another escort mission. We need to take it to a specific point in the world. However, you cannot jump off ledges, I believe, or dash with it. Thankfully, it stays in the place it was after that. However, I think if you warp back to the light world... no, actually, no, it'll come with you even then. So we need to take it to a specific point in the map. So we're actually just west of the swamp dungeon. And now we're warping back to the light world. And obviously it came with us. Now you might recall before we went to the desert palace, there was a guy over here I talked to. Let's talk to him with this. He'll open the chest for us as long as we keep the fact that he was actually formerly a thief secret. And he gives us the 4th and final bottle. I think you might have to talk to the guy back in the, thieves' hideout back in the forest in order to do that, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, that's a side quest done. And now we are heading over to the desert's warp point. Which, if you lift this rock, there's a warp point to the next dungeon. Well, the next area where the next dungeon is. Well, technically. First off, welcome to Misery Mire. I love this area because I love the rain effect for this game. Not the visual effect, but the sound effect. It's great stuff. The thing is, this dungeon and the next one I'm about to do, the Misery Mire, which is where we are already, obviously, and the Ice Palace are interchangeable. However, their dungeon items make the opposite dungeon easier. But the thing is, I'm going to Misery Mire first, which is technically the dungeon after the Ice Palace, because the item from it makes the Ice Palace a lot easier. Also, there's a piece of heart here, so that's useful. Number 21, actually, only 3 left to go. And in fact, we're going to get the next one very quickly if we just head to the top right of Misery Mire and warp back to the light world. We can lift this rock. And in it is another block pushing puzzle. It actually reminds me a lot of one of the first pieces of heart in Link's Awakening. Or technically, that reminds me of this because this came first. But either way, piece of heart number 22. Either way, now it's time for Misery Mire. You're gonna need the Ether Medallion. You need it to do this, by the way. And we want to head to where the entrance of the Desert Palace was in the Light World. Actually, think about it. That's a nice little duology there, the fact that these two areas are so distinctly opposite. I'm not sure what's in the cave you can enter in the very northeast of this area that I just passed. I think it might be a shop. It could be something else. I don't know. Either way, that's clearly the Ether mark there, so let's use Ether. And by doing that, obviously the dungeon shows up, as is typical Zelda fashion at this point. And Misery Mire begins. We're here for the rest of the part, by the way. Misery Mire, first off, you need to have the hookshot to come here, so you would need to have completed at least the Swamp Dungeon. And in here we get the first introduction in this game to Wizrobes. Those who have seen my Zelda 1 LP know how I feel about these guys. In fact, I hate them pretty much every game they're in. Especially the Ice Wizrobes in Four Swords in GBA DS 4 Swords. God, that was annoying. Not as annoying as the Dark Nuts, but... Whoa! Yeah, they like to throw a lot. There's actually quite a few Beamoses in this dungeon. Not as many as there are in the final dungeon, but a good amount. Now, like the Thieves' Hideout, Gargoyle's Domain, whatever you like to call the place where we fought blind, there's a couple of decently sized rooms here, so yeah. So just follow where I go. You should be able to beat it, no problem, though. Push this block out of the way to open that door. And head north. I think this is the only time in the game this sprite is used for this specific little underpath. But it gets us a key, which is always useful, I suppose. By the way, I should mention, sorry if my throat sounds kind of raspy at the moment, a bit more than usual. It's because all four of the previous, like, 4 parts have been recorded in one day. And this is immediately following those because I have them all edited up and recorded, so I might as well, right? But talking this long nonstop is kind of a bad idea for a voice. In fact, doing that for so long in the Snake voice is why David Hayter's voice is kind of gruffed up over time, because he had to do so many lines for Metal Gear Solid. But mind you, having a voice like Solid Snake could be a good thing. Now, like a lot of the rooms, there's a lot of rooms that you don't... a lot of dungeons. There's a lot of rooms you don't need to enter, so yeah, I'm taking this fast. I say that as we're only about halfway through the part. Though this room's interesting. There are 2 torches in this room, but there's 2 torches in the next room as well. You need to light all 4 of them up in order to progress, so I like that little trans room. That's not the right term. Inter-room puzzle, I suppose? My terminology has not been the best as of late. I blame either the fact that it's been a long day or the fact that my brain is just not working correctly. You do need to have all 4 of them openly accessible though, first. So that's a thing. And once you light all 4, the screen shakes, which means something good is happening. As it does in all games. Right? 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 Anyway, with that out of the way, but wow, this takes a while. And I know why it does too. What's technically happening is a gigantic wall in this room was moving. I think it was I forget if it moved to the left, up or to the right. Maybe even both. Either way, allows us to now fall down that now accessible hole and get the big key. And there's a war point, which immediately takes us back to a point that we need to head to. There's a big key door there, but we don't want to go there, I think, ever. Yeah, I don't think we ever actually end up in there. I think there are a couple rooms in this dungeon that are just dead ends that you have to kill all the enemies in. Which I would expect, because this dungeon is probably one of the highest damage output dungeons in the game because of reason that I'll get to next part. But I'm gonna do this place first, because the item I get here will make the Ice Palace so much easier. In the Super Nintendo version, at least. In the Game Boy Advance version, I actually recommend you do the Ice Palace first. Why? I'll get to that when we get to the Ice Palace. Also, I always get what I have to do for, like, a brief 5 seconds whenever I play the game here. Now, while I love the song, I do wish the dungeons had different themes. Well, not different themes, at least, like, maybe 1 or 2 different songs for each of the dungeons in the Dark World. Because having varied themes can be nice. Hell, a lot of the Zelda games after that did that. After this did that. In fact, almost every Zelda game after this did that. Huh. Either way, we got the Cave of Mario. It can be very helpful if you make proper use of it. What this does, as you'll see here momentarily, I believe, is that it generates blocks. Blocks that you can move around and such. It only costs magic to use it the first time. And if you use the Cave of Mario again, you'll see this much later on in the playthrough. The block will burst and it'll shoot energy bolts in the 4 cardinal directions. Which is useful. And this item is the reason why I went to the Misery Mire before the Ice Palace, because there is a good amount of the Ice Palace that you have to push this one block around. And it's so much quicker just to use the Cave of Mario. I'll go more into detail without the next part, but still, ugh, I hate the Ice Palace. It's like the one part of this game I never look forward to. And now we're back in this room, just the other portion of it. So let's dash forward and continue on. A bit overkill on the energy balls there, guys. Don't forget, was there ever a game in this style that was technically a bullet hell? That'd be interesting. At this point in the game, if you're as low on health as I am, I take every opportunity you can to use the magic powder on the anti-fairies, because transforming them into fairies is a very good way to get health. Also, I'm not sure how you're supposed to avoid that blade trap. I probably just timed it wrong, actually, now that I think about it. Because once you know, as soon as I say that, I see a way around it. Ugh. Don't you hate it when that happens? Hindsight is always 20/20. Leave that switch alone if it's orange. If it's blue, hit it because you need it to be orange to get past these blocks. And as you saw there was a bumpable wall on the top of the wall. A bumpable area on top of the wall on the top. There you go. Sorry, my grammar is just never the best, is it? And we hit the switch so we can now progress down in the room below. You know what's weird? When you're low on health like I am, you get so focused due to panic that you'll will probably not likely die with that kind of health. I love it when that happens in games, like in when I actually first bought the Rage Awakened, or whatever that thing's name was in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. When I first beat it, I was like on my last legs, which from what I heard isn't too uncommon, but I was panicking, that's for certain. Either way, now we're at the boss, which is one I absolutely hate. This is Vitrious. During the first phase of the battle, I recommend using the Cave of Birna to make sure you can take out these eyeballs. You need to take them all out in order to progress into the next phase. Each of the eyeballs takes 6 hits to defeat, though another way you can do is hit them 3 times with arrows, which I'm surprised I didn't do. During this phase, though, Link is limited to the bottom of the screen. If you touch the blue stuff at all, I think you start taking damage. As you can see by me just sucking. But one thing you also need to look out for is when the big guy, which is Vitrious himself, actually get a bit more white than usual. When it's kind of like he's peeking out of the goo. That's when he's going to shoot out a giant laser beam at you. Well, actually not laser beam, lightning. Which is, actually, there, you're going to go right there. That is deceptively hard to dodge because it's very random in where it goes. Either way, when all 6 are dead, like it shall be now, is when the fight actually begins. And by it begins, I mean it gets easier because Vitrious just charges at you. It takes, I think, 12 hits with the sword to take him out? No, 16 slashes with the tempered sword, 8 with arrows. So aim with arrows just by being directly south of him. I was taking the long approach here, wow. You know what it is? I'm used to the sword being one of the most powerful weapons. And with that, 5 out of 7 dungeons done in the Dark World. It's going by pretty fast, huh? Then again, I guess there's a reason this game's speedrun record's like, what, less than an hour and a half? Alright, what do you have to say to us? Let me guess. Link, because of you, I can escape from the clutches of... Yep, I thought so. I wasn't even looking at the screen for that. Ganon captured us because he couldn't break the seal of the wise men with his power alone. And then, using the wizard Aghanim as his pawn, he drew us to the Dark World. After cracking the seal with our powers, he sealed us inside of these crystals. He then gave us to his loyal monsters, but Ganon didn't plan on your getting this far. Now Princess Zelda is waiting for you inside of Turtle Rock. Please hurry. That's how you can tell this was meant to be Dungeon 6, not Dungeon 5. But dang it, the Cane of Samaria is just so useful during the Ice Palace. And with that, I'm actually back in Lake Hylia, in the Light World, because this is where we need to go to get to the Ice Palace. Let's head to the Wishing Well, where I spent so many rupees in order to upgrade my bombs and arrow capacity. Which is directly north of me, Kyle. Kyle, head north. Oh, past hindsight. That technically all hindsight is in the past. Either way, as you can see, there's a blue, dark 8 block here, which we couldn't lift until we got the Titan's Mid, so this is where the warp is that takes us to the Ice Palace. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 12? Yeah, 12, I'd say. We'll be heading into the Ice Palace. God, I hate this place. See you guys then.